Imagine for a moment that your brain is not just an organ, it is a finely tuned frequency machine. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold is like a signal being broadcast into the electromagnetic field around you. And just like a radio, your brain has the power to tune into different stations. Now, here's the fascinating part. If your brain is broadcasting fear, doubt, and limitation, it's tuning into a frequency that attracts more of the same. But when you shift your thoughts to gratitude, joy, and possibility, you literally change the frequency you're emitting, and the universe responds in kind. We know from neuroscience that your thoughts are electrical and your emotions are magnetic. Together, they create your personal frequency. This isn't philosophy, it's physics. You are both the broadcaster and the receiver of your reality. Think of it this way: when a radio is out of tune, all you hear is static. That static represents stress, overthinking, and disconnection from your true self. But when you begin to calm your mind, when you focus your attention on elevated states of being, you suddenly tune into a clearer signal. That clear signal is alignment. That clear signal is the state in which new opportunities, synchronicities, and healing can flow into your life. Your brain has neuroplasticity, meaning it can rewire itself. But here's the secret. You must become conscious of what frequency you are currently tuning into. If you keep rehearsing the same negative thoughts, you're reinforcing that same old channel. But the moment you choose to think differently, to feel differently, to believe differently, you retune your brain. Meditation, visualization, and intentional focus are the tools that help you adjust the dial. When you slow down your brain waves, you enter into states of coherence. In coherence, your heart and brain are no longer out of sync. They are harmonizing. And that harmony creates a powerful, measurable field around you. So ask yourself, what frequency am I tuning into right now? Are you locked into the station of survival, constantly replaying the past, constantly projecting fear into the future? Or are you willing to tune into the station of creation, the one where you are not limited by who you've been, but empowered by who you are becoming? The truth is, you already have the power to change the channel. You already have the technology within you. Your brain is the machine, your thoughts are the dial, your emotions are the volume, and your focus is the antenna. When you master this, you stop living as a victim of your environment and begin living as the creator of your reality. And every time you practice tuning your brain into higher frequencies, you're not only changing your internal world, you're reshaping the external world to match it. So today, decide to tune it right. Choose thoughts that elevate, emotions that expand, and beliefs that liberate. Because when you align your frequency with the future you desire, you don't have to chase it, it begins to find you. Your brain is not just a collection of neurons firing randomly. It is far more extraordinary. It is a frequency machine constantly transmitting and receiving signals. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, every emotion you feel, these are not invisible, meaningless flashes in your mind. They are waves, patterns of energy carrying information out into the field around you. Whether you realize it or not, your brain is broadcasting right now at this very moment. Think of how a radio works. A radio doesn't create music on its own. Instead, it tunes into a signal that is already being broadcast in the air. Similarly, your brain is a receiver and transmitter. The thoughts and emotions you consistently generate act like the frequency you're tuned into. If you're repeating worry, doubt, or fear, you're sending out a vibration that connects with similar frequencies in your environment. That's why you might notice that when you're stressed, more stressful situations seem to appear, as if reality is mirroring back to you the exact signal you're emitting. But here's the empowering truth. You can change the frequency. Just as a radio dial can be adjusted to move from static to music, you can adjust your inner state to move from survival and limitation to creation and possibility. When you begin to choose thoughts of gratitude, when you practice emotions of love, when you hold visions of your future with faith, You are literally tuning your brain to a higher frequency. And the field around you responds. New opportunities, synchronicities, and moments of clarity start to show up, not by accident, but because your brain is now resonating with them. Science shows us that the human brain produces measurable electromagnetic waves. Every electrical impulse of a neuron creates a signal. Multiply that by the billions of neurons in your brain, and you begin to realize how powerful this broadcasting machine truly is. Your brain is influencing your reality moment by moment, not just through what you do physically, but through what you are radiating energetically. The question is, are you tuning your brain consciously, or are you letting it run on autopilot? If you wake up every day rehearsing the same stories, replaying the same past experiences, and predicting the same future outcomes, then you are broadcasting the same frequency. And the same frequency brings the same results. That is why so many people feel stuck. They don't realize that their brain is locked on a channel they keep unconsciously choosing. But when you pause, when you decide to become aware, and when you deliberately shift your inner world, you prove to yourself that the brain is not the master. It is the tool. You are the one who has the power to tune it. And once you learn to broadcast a frequency of coherence, of clarity, of abundance, you don't need to chase results. Life begins to match your signal. Your brain is a frequency machine. The only question left is, what are you broadcasting today? Every single thought that crosses your mind is not just a fleeting idea. It is an electrical signal. Your brain is an electrical system with neurons firing and wiring together, creating measurable patterns of energy. Each thought produces a spark, a pulse of electricity that radiates into the space around you. But a thought on its own is not enough. A thought is like the blueprint. What gives the thought power, what magnetizes it into reality, is the emotion you attach to it. Emotions are magnetic. They are the energy of the heart. When you feel joy, gratitude, love, or even fear and anger, you are broadcasting that emotion outward like a magnet, pulling in experiences that match it. This is not imagination. This is measurable energy. Your thoughts send the signal out, but your emotions draw the matching reality back to you. Picture it like this. A thought is the command you send to the universe, and your emotion is the fuel that carries it into manifestation. If you think about success but feel unworthy, your magnetic field is pulling in more experiences of lack and limitation. The electrical signal was sent, but the magnetic pull contradicted it. On the other hand, if you think about abundance and simultaneously feel gratitude for it as though it is already here, you are aligning your electrical thought with your magnetic heart. That is when coherence happens. That is when your personal frequency becomes powerful enough to change your reality. Science confirms this truth. The brain emits measurable electrical waves, while the heart generates the strongest magnetic field in the body. Together, they form the electromagnetic signature that represents who you are in every moment. This signature is like your personal broadcast to the field of possibilities. You are not just living in the world, you are actively signaling to it. And what you signal, you attract. This means you are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are not bound by the conditions of your past. The combination of thought and emotion, your electrical and magnetic self, is the creative power within you. But here's the catch: if you keep thinking one way and feeling another, your signal is weak and contradictory. You send out confusion, and life reflects it back to you. The mastery comes when you bring thought and feeling into harmony. Imagine thinking about your future with clarity while feeling the gratitude of already living it. That harmony amplifies your frequency. It makes your signal stronger, clearer, and more magnetic. And the field, the invisible intelligence that surrounds us all, responds to that alignment. So the invitation is simple: become aware of what you're thinking and notice how you're feeling. If they don't match the reality you want to create, adjust them. Don't just think success. Feel it. Don't just imagine love. Embody it. Don't just wish for healing. Experience the emotion of already being whole. Because when thought and emotion come together, you stop being a random signal in the static of the universe. You become a coherent frequency, a living magnet pulling your desired future into your present reality. Focus is not just mental attention. It is the very act of tuning your frequency. Wherever your focus goes, your energy flows, and whatever you repeatedly focus on, you begin to tune into as your reality. Think about a radio. When you spin the dial between stations, what do you hear? Static. It's unclear, distorted, and frustrating. That static is exactly what happens in your life when you live in states of fear, doubt, or stress. Your brain is broadcasting one thing, your heart is feeling another, and your focus keeps looping back to problems from the past or anxieties about the future. That mismatch creates noise, and that noise blocks you from receiving the clear signal of creation. Now, here's the important truth: fear and stress keep you locked into survival mode. When you're focused on surviving, you're constantly scanning for danger, real or imagined. Your brain and body are addicted to the chemicals of stress, and you become unconsciously tuned to the frequency of limitation. You don't even realize it, but you're reliving the same past every day because your focus keeps your frequency anchored to what you already know. But shift your focus to gratitude, joy, or possibility, and everything changes. Gratitude is not just a polite emotion. It is a powerful signal that tells the universe, I already have what I desire. When you focus on gratitude, your brain cannot tell the difference between something real and something vividly imagined. The neural pathways light up as if it's happening now, and your heart responds with an elevated emotion that broadcasts a stronger magnetic field. Suddenly, you are tuning into a new frequency, a frequency that resonates with opportunities, synchronicities, and creation. Focus on joy and you amplify expansion. Focus on possibility and you step into the unknown with openness instead of fear. These elevated states create coherence between the mind and heart, clearing away the static and locking onto a station that broadcasts clarity and alignment. And the more you stay focused there, the more your external world begins to shift, reflecting the frequency you are holding internally. This is why two people can walk into the same room and have completely different experiences. One is focused on lack and they notice everything wrong. The other is focused on possibility and they attract conversations, opportunities, and ideas that move them forward. Same environment, different frequency because of focus. So ask yourself, where is your focus today? Are you tuning into the same old station of fear, replaying the static of limitation? Or are you adjusting the dial, choosing to focus on the signal of gratitude and creation? The answer to that question determines not only how you feel, but also what kind of future you are stepping into. Remember, your focus is your frequency, and your frequency is your destiny. One of the most extraordinary discoveries in modern neuroscience is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, adapt, and rewire itself. For a long time, science believed that the brain was fixed, that once you reached adulthood, your neural circuits were permanently set. But we now know that this isn't true. Your brain is alive, dynamic, and constantly reshaping itself in response to your thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Every thought you think is like a traveler on a road. The more you think the same thought, the more that road becomes worn down and established. Eventually, it becomes a highway, and your brain begins to take that route automatically. This is why habits, beliefs, and emotional patterns feel so natural. You've simply built strong neurological pathways through repetition. But here's the empowering truth. You are not condemned to drive down the same old highways forever. If those pathways lead to stress, limitation, or self-doubt, you can choose to build new ones. Each time you consciously think a new thought, each time you practice a new emotion, you're laying down fresh tracks in the brain. Over time, these new roads become the highways, and the old ones begin to fade from lack of use. This means your past does not define you, your repeated focus does. If you've lived for years rehearsing fear, anger, or unworthiness, your brain has wired itself for survival. But the moment you begin to choose gratitude over resentment, peace over stress, and love over fear, you are giving your brain new instructions. You are literally teaching it to fire in new patterns. And as neurons fire differently, they wire differently. The brain reorganizes itself to match your new internal state. Think of neuroplasticity as the ultimate gift of freedom. It means you don't have to wait for life to change before you do. You don't have to be chained to the same personality, the same emotions, or the same habits. You can consciously sculpt your brain into the version of you that already lives in the future you desire. The key lies in consistency. A single positive thought or one meditation session might open the door, but it is repetition that rewires. Just like learning to play an instrument or mastering a sport, the more you practice elevated thoughts and emotions, the stronger those neural networks become. Eventually, your brain begins to default to gratitude, joy, and inspiration, just as it once defaulted to fear and stress. And as your brain changes, so does your life. Because when your brain's hardware is rewired for possibility, your frequency shifts. You stop unconsciously living in the past and begin consciously creating the future. So remind yourself every moment you choose a new thought, every moment you elevate your emotions, you're not just thinking positively. You are reshaping the very structure of your brain. You are rewiring your biology to match your vision of who you want to become. That is the true power of neuroplasticity. Your brain is a frequency machine, but like any machine, it needs calibration. If you don't consciously adjust the dial, it will keep tuning into the same old stations: fear, doubt, stress, and limitation. The tools to adjust that dial are already within you: meditation, visualization, and focused attention. These are not just practices for relaxation, they are technologies of transformation. Let's begin with meditation. When you meditate, you shift your brainwaves from the fast, chaotic patterns of survival into slower, more coherent rhythms. In that slower state, the noise of the external world begins to fade, and you enter a space where you can become aware of the internal. Meditation is the act of stepping back from the static so you can clearly tune your frequency. It allows you to disconnect from old patterns and open to new possibilities. Then comes visualization. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. The neural pathways light up in the same way. When you visualize your desired future with clarity, you are rehearsing it neurologically. You are teaching your brain what to expect. But the magic happens when you pair that visualization with elevated emotions. When you see your future and feel gratitude for it as though it has already happened, your brain and heart synchronize. You are no longer imagining, you are embodying. Focus is the glue that holds it all together. Most people scatter their attention, constantly distracted by external circumstances. But when you learn to direct your focus intentionally, you amplify your signal. Focus is like pointing the antenna of your mind toward the exact frequency you want to receive. The more consistent your focus, the clearer the broadcast. And the clearer the broadcast, the faster the response from the field around you. Together, these practices create what is called coherence. Coherence is harmony between your brain and heart. It's when your thoughts and emotions are no longer fighting each other, but working together as one signal. In coherence, your electromagnetic field expands, becoming stronger, clearer, and more ordered. This is the state where change happens, not because you forced it in the outer world, but because you aligned yourself in the inner world. Think of it this way: meditation is how you quiet the static, visualization is how you program the future, and focus is how you lock onto the frequency. Practice them regularly, and your brain stops being a machine of habit and survival and instead becomes a machine of creation and coherence. So if you want to change your life, begin with these tools. Spend a few minutes each day calming the mind, seeing the future, and feeling it with intensity. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And eventually, your brain won't need to tune into old stations anymore. it will naturally broadcast the frequency of the future you've chosen. When your brain and heart are out of sync, life feels scattered, stressful, and uncertain. Your thoughts pull you in one direction while your emotions drag you in another. This inner conflict creates static in your frequency, weakening the signal you are broadcasting to the world. But when the brain and the heart come into harmony, something extraordinary happens: coherence. Coherence is not just a poetic idea, it is a measurable state of being. Scientists have shown that the heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the human body, much stronger than the brain's field. When your heart is filled with elevated emotions like love, gratitude, and joy, it radiates a powerful signal that influences not only your body but the environment around you. Now, here's where it becomes even more fascinating. When your thoughts in the brain align with the emotions in your heart, the two systems begin to synchronize. They move from chaos to order, from disconnection to unity. This synchronization creates a coherent electromagnetic field that is both stronger and more organized. You literally become a broadcasting tower of clarity. In this state, your body heals faster, your immune system strengthens, your mind becomes sharper. But even beyond biology, coherence expands your influence in the invisible field around you. People feel it without even knowing why. They are drawn to your presence, inspired by your energy, and affected by the calm power you radiate. You've likely experienced this yourself, walking into a room and instantly feeling uplifted by someone's energy. That is coherence in action. It also works the other way. If you walk into a room full of stress and tension, you can feel that too. That's incoherence. The energy is scattered and the field is weak. But when you train yourself to live in coherence, you're no longer influenced by external chaos. You become the influence. You carry a field so ordered, so powerful, that it begins to organize the energy around you. The path to coherence begins with awareness. Start by noticing when your thoughts are out of alignment with your emotions. For example, you might think about abundance but feel fear, or think about health but feel doubt. That inner conflict creates incoherence. The practice is to bring your brain and heart into agreement. Think abundance and feel gratitude. Think health and feel wholeness. Think love and feel love. As you practice, coherence becomes your natural state, and the more coherent you are, the more magnetic your field becomes. Opportunities, synchronicities, and meaningful connections begin to flow toward you, not because of luck, but because you are broadcasting a powerful, unified signal that resonates with creation itself. So remember, coherence is not just about feeling good. It is about becoming powerful. It is the state where your inner world and outer world align, where your frequency becomes irresistible, and where your life begins to reflect the harmony you've cultivated within. Most people believe life is something that happens to them. They see themselves as receivers of circumstances, reacting to whatever shows up, whether it's joy or disappointment, opportunity or setback. But the truth is far deeper. You are not simply a receiver of reality. You are a creator of it. And the tool you use to create is your frequency. Think about it. A radio doesn't just receive sound randomly. It receives based on the frequency it is tuned to. Your life works in the same way. If you tune yourself to fear, doubt, and limitation, you will receive experiences that mirror those states. But the moment you shift your inner frequency, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, you begin to draw in experiences that match the new signal. You are constantly broadcasting. Every thought you think is electrical energy. Every emotion you feel is magnetic energy. Together, they generate an electromagnetic field that extends beyond your body. This field is your signature, your signal, your unique broadcast into the quantum field of possibilities. And the universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are. Here's the empowering part. If you can change your broadcast, you can change your reality. You are not locked into the same circumstances forever. By shifting your frequency, you shift the reality you connect with. This means you are not just reacting to life. You are actively shaping it with every thought and emotion you embody. Consider this: two people can face the same challenge. One, tuned to fear and doubt, sees only problems and feels stuck. The other, tuned to faith and gratitude, sees opportunity and attracts solutions. The challenge is the same, but the reality they experience is completely different. Why? Because their frequencies are different. Creation begins when you stop living as a passive receiver and start living as an intentional broadcaster. This requires awareness. Ask yourself daily, what signal am I sending out? If you're sending signals of stress, frustration, or lack, then don't be surprised if your reality reflects more of the same. But if you deliberately tune into joy, gratitude, and abundance, your field becomes magnetic to experiences that match. You are not waiting for life to hand you something new. You are tuning into it. You are aligning your inner frequency with the future you desire. And when that alignment is consistent, life has no choice but to respond. The shift happens the moment you recognize that your external reality is not fixed. It is fluid, responding to the energy you project. You are not a powerless receiver in a random world. You are a conscious creator in a field of infinite possibilities. So stop waiting for proof before you believe. Start broadcasting the signal of the life you want, and reality will tune itself to your frequency. That is the true power of creation. Think of yourself as living inside the most advanced technology ever created. This technology is not your phone, not your computer, not even the most powerful satellite. It is your own mind-body system. And like every piece of technology, it has components that determine how it works. When you understand them, you can operate your inner machine with mastery. Your brain is the machine. It's the hardware that processes information, generates signals, and broadcasts energy into the field around you. Just like a radio or a transmitter, it's constantly active. But a machine without direction can run endlessly without creating anything meaningful. That's why you must learn how to use the controls. Your thoughts are the dial. They decide what frequency you tune into. If you keep turning the dial toward stress, doubt, and fear, you'll continue to hear the same station of survival, broadcasting the same stories of the past. But if you deliberately move the dial toward possibility, gratitude, and vision, you'll find yourself tuning into a completely different station, a frequency of creation. The station you choose to tune into is entirely dependent on the thoughts you rehearse daily. Your emotions are the volume. You can think a thought quietly with little energy, and it won't carry far. But when you feel that thought, when you embody it with strong emotion, you amplify the signal. The louder the volume, the stronger the broadcast. This is why emotion is so powerful. It intensifies the signal your brain is already sending. A thought of abundance with an emotion of gratitude becomes a powerful magnet. A thought of fear with an emotion of anxiety becomes equally magnetic, but it attracts limitation instead. Finally, your focus is the antenna. Focus determines the direction of your signal. Most people scatter their attention, pointing their antenna in 1,000 directions at once. The result? A weak and confused broadcast. But when you bring your focus into alignment, directing it clearly toward a vision of your future, you sharpen your antenna. You aim it at the exact frequency you want, and the universe receives a clear signal. When these elements work together, brain as the machine, thoughts as the dial, emotions as the volume, focus as the antenna, you step into mastery of your inner technology. You are no longer broadcasting randomly. You are intentionally sending out a frequency that matches the life you want to create. This is why some people seem to magnetize opportunities, relationships, and abundance. They are not lucky, they are tuned. They are using their inner machine properly, calibrating their thoughts, amplifying with emotion, and directing with focus. The beauty of this truth is that you already have all the equipment you need. You don't need anything outside of yourself. The controls are in your hands. The question is, are you ready to tune the machine? Because once you do, you'll discover that life doesn't just happen to you. Life begins to happen through you. At every moment of your life, you are tuned into one of two frequencies, survival or creation. These are not just abstract ideas, they are distinct states of being that shape your thoughts, emotions, biology, and ultimately your reality. Let's start with survival. Survival is the frequency of fear, stress, and limitation. When you're in survival mode, your body is wired to react. Your mind races, scanning for threats. Your emotions are dominated by anxiety, anger, or doubt. Survival has its place. It kept our ancestors alive in moments of danger. But the problem today is that many people live their entire lives stuck in survival, constantly tuned to the station of fear. Living in survival means you're always predicting worst-case scenarios. You replay the past, projecting it onto the future. Your brain is locked into patterns of stress, and your body becomes addicted to those stress chemicals. As a result, your frequency keeps broadcasting signals of danger, lack, and limitation. And because the universe mirrors your frequency, life continues to deliver the same kinds of experiences. That's why survival feels like being trapped in a cycle, because it is. Now contrast that with creation. Creation is the frequency of possibility. It is when you are no longer defined by the past, but open to a future greater than what you've known. In creation, your thoughts expand beyond limitations, and your emotions elevate into gratitude, joy, and inspiration. This is not about ignoring reality, it's about tuning into a higher one. Creation doesn't ask what is, it asks what can be. When you're tuned to creation, your body shifts into balance. Stress chemicals decrease and healing hormones increase. Your brain and heart enter coherence, broadcasting a strong, unified signal. Instead of anticipating problems, you begin to expect opportunities. Synchronicities show up, the right people appear, new ideas flow. Life doesn't feel like a cycle anymore. It feels like a canvas waiting for you to paint on it. The shift between survival and creation begins with awareness. You must ask yourself honestly, am I living today in survival or am I living in creation? It's not about judgment, it's about choice. If you notice that fear and stress are dominating, pause, breathe, and redirect. Move your focus from what you don't want to what you do. Choose one elevated emotion and practice feeling it. That single choice can begin the tuning process, shifting your frequency from static to clarity. Survival keeps you stuck in the known. Creation opens the door to the unknown, the field of infinite possibilities. One locks you into the past, the other sets you free into the future. So the real question is not, what's happening in my life? The real question is, which station am I tuned into? Because your frequency determines your experience. And at any moment, you have the power to turn the dial. There is a powerful truth that many people overlook. You do not chase your future, you attract it. The life you desire is not something far away, waiting for you at the end of struggle. It already exists in the field of infinite possibilities. The key to experiencing it lies in aligning your frequency with it. Think of a magnet. A magnet doesn't run around trying to pull metal toward itself. It simply radiates its field, and anything that matches that field is drawn to it effortlessly. In the same way, your frequency is your magnetic field. When you align it with gratitude, love, abundance, and vision, the future you want begins to gravitate toward you. Not because of luck, but because you've tuned into the same frequency as that future. Here's the challenge most people face: they live in misalignment. They want a future of abundance, but they stay tuned to lack. They desire love, but they keep broadcasting fear. They hope for health, but they remain focused on sickness. The frequency of their inner world doesn't match the frequency of their desired future, so they remain disconnected from it. But the moment you align, everything shifts. Alignment means your thoughts, emotions, and focus are all broadcasting the same signal, the signal of the future you want to create. If you envision abundance and feel gratitude as though it's already yours, you are no longer sending out static. You're sending a clear, coherent frequency that resonates with that reality. And because like attracts, like the field around you responds. Circumstances, people, and Opportunities appear that match the signal you've been broadcasting. This is why alignment is so powerful. It removes effort. When you're out of alignment, you chase, you force, you struggle, and life feels heavy. But when you're in alignment, the flow of life supports you. The doors open. Synchronicities line up. The right people show up at the right time. You're no longer pushing against reality. You're harmonizing with it. Alignment doesn't happen once. It's a practice. Every day, you have the choice to tune your frequency. Do you start the day with stress and let the past dictate your signal? Or do you begin with gratitude, meditation, and intention, setting your frequency to match the life you want? The more you practice alignment, the stronger your signal becomes, and the faster your future is attracted into your present. The beauty of this truth is that you don't have to figure out how everything will happen. You don't need to control every detail. Your only task is alignment. When you hold the frequency of your desired future, the invisible intelligence of the universe orchestrates the how. So instead of chasing your future, start tuning into it. Align your thoughts, align your emotions, align your focus. Because when your frequency matches the future you desire, it cannot stay away. It will be magnetized to you.